Hello, my name's J. Don't Fade, Jason Malloy for show purposes, and this is the Hot Corner Hangout. It's our inaugural episode. As you can see, we're in lovely Camden Yards tonight. That may change on the future, probably not, because it is the best ballpark in all of baseball, in my opinion. That's actually not true. I'm an Orioles fan, so of course I think that, but I'd probably say PNC Park is first, with the Camden Yards being a very, very close second, with the ability to become first once again. They are putting some more money in. From what I live in New York, of course, I'm a Bills fan. It's probably where you know me from, Bills and Sabres, of course, on the Warpath Pod. Give that a follow and subscribe as well to Mafia Sports Report. But, it looks like they're going to be doing something in Maryland as far as like new stadium funds and things. Not too tied into the government there, of course, being in New York once again. But looks like there's going to be some more money going to Camden Yards. An already beautiful park going to become more beautiful. I do apologize for the Tigers highlights or whatever those were on our introduction video. The Tigers suck now and have always sucked, and probably will for always, forever suck. I don't know why we had that Miguel Cabrera random home run. That was just another home run, yet another meaningless Tiger season. However, it was there. We'll try to get that out of the video for the future. I know it's probably disappointing for any of our new fans or followers. However, let's jump into baseball here. Got a lot going on today in sports, and there's a lot to cover here. And I'm kind of going to be relying on you guys. We're going to feel this out and see how it goes. I want to give you guys the content that you want. Not only that I want to talk about, of course, but the stuff that you guys want. As far as what we're going to cover, it's going to jump. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I want to go based off of what your comments are in the chat and what you guys want to discuss. Specific teams, obviously. I know we're probably going to have a plethora of different teams, fans in the chat and in general. Astros, Blue Jays, ALC matchup. Well, Louis, I'm not going to talk about things that aren't going to happen. I mean, we're not going to talk about fantasy here to get things kicked off on the road. We already all know that the ALCS is going to be something involving the Baltimore Orioles and maybe another team, maybe the Astros, right? I don't know about the Blue Jays. No, I really got nothing against the Astros. Surprisingly, nothing against maybe one of 10 fans that don't. I really don't care. That's probably because our GM, Michael Eliash, is from the Astros actually and helped to build them into what they are. So that's the hope in Baltimore, of course. Things are getting better. Things are getting brighter. Why don't we start there? Let's start with Baltimore. I don't mind that, of course. We'll start with Baltimore. And then I do want to jump into the AL East foe that we have in the really fall from grace New York Yankees, and we'll probably make our way. You know what? Let's cover the AL East today. We'll do that. We'll cover the AL East. We're going to do like another, just to have something to expect for you guys, 20, 25 minutes, maybe half an hour if we really get going. Cover a couple minutes on each team. Baltimore, New York, the Yankees, that is not the Mets, the real team in New York, probably the Mets these days, but the Yankees, of course, in New York, we'll be talking about on the show today. The Toronto Blue Jays, their future looks bright-ish. They're kind of a streaky team to me. They're a good team. They're very well built. Like they have like, honestly, when we as the Orioles play the Blue Jays, I'm like there's not like a part of the lineup where you're like with the Orioles, right? Like, and even that's been kind of strange because our 6 through 9 has been okay. Like Jorge Mendejo is our our last guy in the batting order at 9, and he's been like raking for like 2 or 3 months. But like, there's usually a team you play, and you're like, all right, we're through like 1 through 4, 1 through 5 in the 8th inning. We're up a couple runs. Like, we feel safe now. We'll let our guys come in from the bullpen, our closer. Gregory Soto. For us, it was Jorge Lopez. He's now in Minnesota, but like Felix Bautista for us, or Clay Holmes was the guy in New York for a while, right? Or like Jordan Romano in Toronto, right? Like, you have that guy. But when we play Toronto, like, I just don't feel like that. It's like every batter in their lineup scares me to some extent. And I know, like, for hardcore Blue Jays fans, they're probably like, I don't know how you could say that. We got like 2 guys in the lineup that suck, but they're probably still better than like the worst teams, like top 3 batters or leadoff hitter, right? So Toronto's got a really well-built team, and they will see a World Series appearance. I don't know about win. It's really hard to win a World Series regardless of how it is, but like, they will see a World Series appearance pretty soon. It could be this year. Like, they're getting hot at the right time. The Yankees are stinking up the joint, like, work terribly. And the Blue Jays, and the most important part is the Blue Jays are beating the Yankees in games. So like, the Yankees had the 10-game lead or whatever. Now it's like down to 7. The Orioles are kind of hanging out right there to it, like down like 10 or 11 games. Yankees fans are saying they're not sweating, but of course they should be sweating. I mean, things are getting really crazy up there in New York, and the payroll couldn't be higher. I mean, I guess it could be higher. We'll see, right? The Yankees of all teams, the payroll will get higher next year somehow. They'll probably like somehow, I don't even know who they can get, like a Trey Turner, right? They'll probably grab Trey Turner, which would be the perfect kind of player they would need, right? Like, Trey Turner would be a really good addition for the Yankees, someone that can hit for average, someone can hit for above average. They got a little bit of pop. They're in probably the 3rd fastest player in the league, behind a player that the Yankees already have in Harrison Bader. And I personally think Jorge Mateo is probably the fastest player in the league. It's not because I'm an Orioles fan. I've seen the kid play. He's insanely fast. Like, he's faster than – he might be as fast as Tyreek Hill. Who knows? I'd like to see him run a 40. But Jorge Mateo, number 1, Harrison Bader, number 2, Trey Turner, number 3. And that would be the perfect guy for the Yankees to add. Someone that they can have get on base so that those home runs that are solo shots or even 2-run shots can become 3-run shots. Or when they're down a run and they can't hit home runs or they can't hit doubles and they're striking out, they have a guy that can get on base and get from first to third in a matter of 3 or 4 pitches, 1 at bat. And then you set yourself up for a sacrifice fly while he's on third, and anything that's midway deep into the outfield, because of his speed, he's getting home. So that's a crucial player for someone like the Yankees to have, right? I don't know what he's going to demand in the open market. I do agree, Louis, too. The Orioles are playing they're playing pretty good even after trading Trey. Things have they were definitely really good immediately following the trade. Like, they won like 2 or 3 games in a row, and then things were still pretty good, like shortly following the break and all of that stuff. But things did get a little, even like lately, like today we lost a game 4-3, a winnable game. It's been a problem. Like, when our bullpen has been like top 5 in the league all year, which is insane because it's not built up of guys that are like highly paid. It's built up of like the castaways. Like, it's truly a Moneyball situation in Baltimore right now, other than the top prospect, like Adley Rutschman, right? Like, Adley Rutschman coming up. If he was up early, like at the beginning of the year, just like Julio Rodriguez and Bobby Witt and Torkelson. Torkelson's a sad story, but Torkelson, right? Or like a Riley Green, he came up later, but you know what I'm saying. Guys that came up earlier in the year, I think that he would be running away with the Rookie of the Year award simply because of how well he's done defensively and how well he's doing with the extra base hits. It's like he's like a magnet for the XBH. He just can't stop hitting doubles. It's like insanity. Everything's either in the gap or in the double. And like it's weird because they're playing this strange shift against them where they go to 3 infielders and 4 outfielders, and it just doesn't really work. So that's kind of the funny part. So I don't know if we'll see that go away or if we'll see that even maybe encompassed before the shift gets banned, which I am all for it getting banned. I cannot stand the shift. I think it takes away from what baseball's trying to do as far as like putting more offense up and making games quicker and having more be more exciting, more offense. It completely goes in the opposite direction of that. It's boring. It kills some of the league's best hitters. Like Matt Carpenter got better, Joey Votto got better, but it kills some of the league's best hitters. Like Matt Carpenter was a great bat. All of a sudden the shift comes around and he sucks. So like, I don't know. I'm all for getting away with the shift. I like exciting or banning the shift. I'm sorry. Getting away from the shift too. That's the same thing. I don't know why I made a differentiation there, but either way, I'm all for getting rid of the shift. And I think I like baseball where like you're getting games that are 6-5, 6-4, or like games that are 6-6. Like I remember a lot of good playoff games that were really high scoring. Like I wish I had the highlight here. I probably should have had that prepared. But the Delwyn double for us Orioles fans is like I would say it's probably not the most iconic moment in Orioles history, but it might be the most iconic, like, live action moment in Orioles history. Like you got bases are juiced. We're down a couple runs to the Tigers. Tommy's team, the Tigers, they sucked then too. We actually swept them in that series, and they had like Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, like they had a really stacked team too. And we had just got done one from them actually the year prior. The year prior, that one was a Tigers, what I meant, and he was then an Oriole. He puts a one down the line in the first pitch. All three guys come in. We take a run lead. J.J. Hardy scores with milliseconds to spare before he's tagged. Beautiful game, beautiful moment, beautiful series. We did go on to lose, of course, in the ALCS that year, I believe, to the Royals. I think we got swept actually the next series. It's pretty sad, but either way, getting off on a tangent there. But yeah, like players like that. So Tigers won't be back, Tommy. They suck. They have completely botched their rebuild, and they will be starting over again. But Louis, Aaron Boone was Madden post. I actually just saw that because I don't watch like a lot of Yankees post games, of course, but that was popping up on my Twitter feed, and it's like I think the header was what was the header? Aaron Boone slams fist in frustration after another Yankees loss, which is exactly what it was after watching the video. Here's the funny part about that though. It looked super scripted to me. Like my first thought was like he's doing that to try and make it show that he cares because he just doesn't know what to say at this point and he has no answers simply because he has a stacked and loaded lineup and like a pretty good rotation, which they did make worse by trading Jordan Montgomery for Harrison Bader, who hasn't even played a game yet. And Jordan Montgomery is tearing it up in in St. Louis. I do come from a Cardinal household, so I'd still peek in on the Cardinals. I'd never root for them against the Orioles, and I'm really not a true fan of them, but I check in on them. But yeah, it was funny definitely watching Aaron Boone with that because it just seemed like he's like, da-da-da, and it really pisses me off. And it was like super like he was making sure he slammed it. It just looked very scripted. Is he frustrated? Is he losing his mind? Is he out of answers? Surely he is. But I just don't know what to say about that. It definitely seems scripted, but I mean, what are you going to do? It's like win, tie, or lose, that New York media is going to be 50, 60 deep every single game, regardless of what's going on, because you're in New York, one of the largest cities in the entire world, and largest city in North America, I believe, unless LA still takes the cake there. I'm not sure. I think LA does have more people. But the second largest city, at least in North America. And when you're losing games, like, excuse me. I saw a tweet the other day from a Yankees fan because I still have a lot of Yankees because I live in Buffalo and unfortunately we're filled with Yankees fans and Jays fans. But I'm not really seeing a lot of Orioles fans except for the fact that the Rochester Red Wings were the minor league team for the Orioles for a long time. Cal Ripken played there. A lot of Orioles greats played there. Joe Altobelli, rest in peace. Of course, he passed recently, but World Series Orioles championship manager in 1983 passed away, but he was a manager and maybe even he wasn't a player there. He's a manager there, I believe. But yeah, great players like that. Either way, though. But yeah, like here, I watch a lot of Yankees coverage and see a lot of Yankees coverage and Yankees content and Yankees tweets and notifications and social media because I'm in Buffalo and tied in with the Bills Mafia and the Bills fans. So, but yeah, there was a tweet that said like, oh, we were like, one lucky hit away from like being on an 8-game losing streak or something crazy like that. And I'm like, wow, I never thought about it. I'm like, yeah, like the Yankees could be on like an 8, 9, at this point, maybe even a 10-game losing streak without that one random lucky win in between. And that's just crazy to think like, the Yankees truly are, and from what I can remember in recent years, like the tale of two seasons. Like either the first half is awful, and the second half is like they come back from grace and they go on this hot streak and they're one of the better teams in the league again. Or this year, the first half was fucking amazing. Like we thought they were about to honestly break like win streak records, and Aaron Judge was going to break home run records and like all this crazy stuff. And they have just completely fallen from grace and are like one of the worst teams in the league at this current time. Louis, where do I think Judge will side? I don't know. It's a hard one because like he hasn't been super firm on the fact that he's like leaving New York yet. But it doesn't seem like they're going to get a deal done. But I feel like there's like a lot of ways this could be done because they could, in fact, get away from Aaron Boone, right? Like if they somehow don't make I don't know about making the playoffs. Like they're definitely gonna make the playoffs this year, I think. But if they like decide they're not going to keep Aaron Boone around and they fire Aaron Boone mid-season or at the end of the playoffs if they lose a wild card game, the wild card series or something like that, because I don't know if they're going to win the division at this point because Baltimore is on their tails, Toronto is right on their tails. We've got a couple games left in Toronto. I'm really not too worried about Baltimore and the Toronto series because I think right now we still have a lead on them in games. Not to mention the fact that we did just win the series against them. We also have another series coming up. Excuse me, I'm getting a case of the yawns here. Long day. But either way, getting back to Judge, this sounds crazy. I could definitely see him because Mike Eliash has said that he wants to make some meaningful signings and like spending real money in free agency this year, not just from arbitration, even though that will be a big case of it and a big allotment of that from what he said. But it would make sense to play in Baltimore. Like he's got like home runs. He likes to hit home runs in Baltimore, sadly. I don't know that we need him. I don't. I definitely don't. We don't need him. Like we don't. We have tons of outfield prospects. Like Kyle Stowers just came up. He's playing well. He's a top 10 Orioles prospect. He just came up here yesterday, and he's doing well since. He's made some good defensive plays. And we're in Toronto. He debuted in his Toronto series last month when Anthony Santander wasn't vaccinated, so he couldn't make the trip. And he made like a really nice catch. He had a double in his first game, and it was his debut game, his first hit. And it just I like him a lot. I think he's around, definitely starting all of next year. On top of the fact that we have Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins is going nowhere. Great defensive outfielder, can get the bat going. I think he's just having a sluggy type season, but I see him as being a career 280 hitter type guy. He's got some pop, he's got some power, he's got speed, he's got that veteran leadership, and he's a great defensive player other than his arm. But that can be made up for. If you have really good cannons and athletic guys in right and left field, you can make up for not having a great arm in center field. And especially if you've got a good guy at the cutoff. Like Jorge Mateo, who's there right now, and second base is Ruben Odor, who's just a bum in every way, and the backup catcher right now is Robin Citrinos. But if you have a connection where you have a Cedric Mullins, Jorge Mateo, soon to be Gunnar Henderson, or Jordan Westberg, or Trey Turner, if we somehow sign him, Trey Turner, and then you have a guy like Adley Rutschman at the plate. I mean, you don't need to have an amazing cannon in the outfield to be able to make that play and get a guy out who's maybe tagging up from third who doesn't have amazing speed, so that doesn't worry me too much. We've got Austin Hayes right now who's struggling with the bat, but I see potential in him to be a 30 home run guy. And on top of the fact that he has a complete like freaking cannon. And then you got to go to the prospects. That's not even the prospects. That's who I think could start next year and we would be fine and still be a playoff team at that point. You've got Heston Kjerstad, number 2 overall pick, who's finally back and healthy and is doing very well in his first professional season. You've got Colton Cowser, who is flying through, and I say flying through the minors. In Double-A, should probably be in Triple-A. He's hitting well over 300 with pop and power, and he's a good defensive outfielder, playing very well in right and center field. He's in Double-A. He'll be in Triple-A probably by next month, is my guess. What else do we got here? You got Yusniel Diaz. That is exciting. A guy that's going to get a chance. He was he was the centerpiece of the Manny Machado trade and has just had injuries really kind of bogged down his career, but he's still got pop and power and he can play a little bit of defense as well and make some splashy plays. So I don't know that we need Aaron Judge, but it would definitely be an exciting signing. That's a signing that I could see like 2 years down the line. When we have like, we're really trying to spend money and we're really like, all right, we're going to be able to get to the World Series. We need to win it now, that type of thing. But then I could also see him landing in somewhere like crazy, but like a Boston. Some of that just is like, we're never going to ever rebuild because we're a big market and we're going to spend money like it. So we're never going to rebuild just like the Yankees. And we're just going to take this guy from the Yankees because screw the Yankees. And we want this guy that can hit fucking like home runs over the monster at, regular rates. So there's that. And Aaron Judge can hit opposite field home runs too. He's a damn behemoth. I've seen him play live in person a couple times. Where I think he's probably going to end up signing though is somewhere in the NL. I mean, it sounds crazy, but like I could see him signing somewhere like maybe it doesn't sound crazy, but I could see him signing somewhere like in St. Louis where they have money and maybe they want to spend one more big contract and just like be like, you know what? We don't give a shit about pitching. We truly don't. We're always going to try and trade for like a couple mid to, a below average to possibly slightly above average pitchers at the deadline. And we're just going to try and score like 10 runs every night and just try and score more than us. But yeah, it's really anybody's guess right now where he signs. He could totally sign somewhere like in Atlanta, who's made like their GM has been so smart about how he signed his players with Acuna and Dansby Swanson and Ozzie Albies and now Michael Harris, who looks like he's going to be a damn madman for the next 10, 15 years out in center field, who's going to be a Gold Glove candidate every year, and he's also going to rake, and he's going to crush balls, and he's just going to hit piss missiles, and he's just going to hit for average. And if they add a guy like an Aaron Judge, I don't know, they probably leapfrog the Mets at that point, and the Mets are spending like $260 million to get to where they are now, and the Braves are spending about probably a little bit more than half of that, and they're already, in my opinion, yeah, maybe the record's not showing, but I think they're better. I will take a healthy Atlanta Braves over a healthy New York Mets, even with DeGrom and Scherzer in the equation. I just think that consistency-wise, they're going to put up more runs. The Braves are going to put up more runs than the Mets every night. So I think the Mets win in a 10-game series. They win 6 or 7. So that's my take on them. That's covering the Orioles and the Yanks. We are at 20 minutes. Like I said, 25 minutes is our inaugural episode. I just wanted to see what we got. We're going to go ahead and go over everybody else, or the other two, very quickly. Or the other three, I'm sorry, in the division, because it's funny because they're all in the race for the playoffs. I've said it once, I'll say it again, and I'll say it probably a million more times. The AL East is the toughest division in sports. It is the best division in sports. It is the most competitive division in sports. With the Orioles now arriving and becoming a better team and fighting for the playoffs and being 2-3 games out of the playoffs on any given day. I think now we're like 2.5, which is the most we've been in quite a while. But that can be made up. We get the White Sox coming up. We win 4 in a row. The Blue Jays drop 1 or 2. The Mariners drop 1 or 2. The Rays drop 1 or 2. We're right back in the playoff spot. So I'm all down for it. I'm good, honestly. I think we're still. I think this next 4 games tells the tale for us Baltimore Orioles fans, though, and the team as an organization and for the playoffs. You lose, 3, maybe even 4 of these next 4 games, you're done. You're a week out at that point. There's not enough time left to make it up unless you're really going to go on one of those runs like we had where you're winning 10 or 12 games in a row. And I don't foresee that happening again. Baseball is a very hard sport. It's hard to win. It's hard to sweep a team, let alone win, sweep 3 or 4 teams in a row, like we did, and like the Cardinals did last year. That's what the Cardinals did last year, though, right? I mean, they got hot at the end of the season, and it propelled them into the playoffs. Now they lost in the wild card game by a bad decision by former manager, which was fired directly related to this, Mike Schilt, when he put it in Alex Reyes, who was a hot closer at the beginning of the year, recording like 39 and leading over. It wasn't 39 straight this year, but 39 from the year before and into last year. Beginning of last year, 39 straight saves, and he has like 101 mile an hour, 102 mile an hour fastball with a filthy 12.6 curve, but he has no location. And he's hurt now. He'll be coming back soon eventually, I'm sure. Maybe by the end of the year, it sounds like. So we'll see. They're not too off on a Cardinals tangent. But yeah, the Rays. So the Rays are just doing what they're doing. They're playing Moneyball. They're hanging around in the playoffs. A couple games out. Let's see how their game went today. Also, at the end of the show, guys, I'm just going to give you an update on these last couple teams here because we're talking Yankees and a little bit of Blue Jays and Orioles, of course. So we'll just give an update here on the Red Sox and the Rays and where they're at now in the wild card standings and how their games went today or are going. Why don't we cover the Red Sox first? Actually, the Red Sox beat the Orioles today, unfortunately, 4-3. The Orioles made a push. They were down 3-0, but they made a push in the last 7th, 8th inning to get within 4-3. And at the end, we just had no one on base, and we had Rugi Odor up, and he fell about 15 to 20 feet short of the game-tying home run, and that's just not how you're going to win baseball games, unfortunately. So it didn't end up working out, sadly, there. It doesn't look like my bets are working out today either because the Mets suck, as I said. They're down 1-3. They blew the game. I think they might have lost the game earlier, too. Who knows? Let's see here. The Mariners are losing 2-3, so that's a good thing for the wild card race for the Orioles. The Mariners are down 2-3 right now to the Athletics. They could end up winning that game, though. I also have the Astros against the Braves. That's 1-1 in the bottom of the 5th. Cardinals, it's more money going away, of course. Don't follow me on my betting picks today. I've done terrible. I'm losing every bet right now. 1-2, losing to the D-backs. Cardinals are a very shaky team. I don't have a lot of faith in them, to be completely honest with you. You should be sweeping teams like the Diamondbacks. That's embarrassing. I'd love to play in that division. Never mind that, in the NL Central or whatnot. It's a terrible division. 67 games is like the division leader there, which is pretty embarrassing by like a game or two, too. So, or not even. That's by like 4 or 5 games. I think the Brew Crew is like, let me see. I'll check the standings real quick. Yeah, the Brewers are at 63 wins. So, like, if you put, let's see here, 63 wins, Cardinals are at 67. They're about to be. I don't know if the Brewers lost today to the Cubs. Bums. It's kind of funny because, like, the Cubs aren't even out of that wild. Like, they're 15 games out of that division, but, like, they've been god-awful all year. Let me take a peek at where we're at here. So, if you put every single team from the AL East into the NL Central, every team is within 3 games of the division lead. So the Red Sox are 3 games out. The Orioles are 1 game out. The Rays are, the division lead is 67. So every team is within at least 7 games. So the Red Sox are 7 games out. Orioles are 5. Rays are 3. Blue Jays are 2. And the Yankees would be up by like 5. But yeah, like if you look at the wild card standings for the MLB right now, just pulling that up right now to get a peek, so you can take a look at like how the wild card standings are and the teams I'm talking about when I mentioned the AL East and like their teams and how competitive they are and why I think they're the best division in sports. Just waiting for the computer to load here. The MLB.com site is never quick. So the division leaders we got right now, we got Houston, we got the Yankees, and we got Cleveland. Yeah, it's surprising Cleveland. But Cleveland, the wild card current teams are Seattle with 66 wins, Toronto with 65, Tampa Bay with 64. The team that's right out of it, just out of it, is the Minnesota Twins, and they're 1 game out, and the Orioles are 2.5 games out, like I said now. Win tomorrow and a couple losses tonight by yours truly being Seattle. Put them at 66. Twins will stay at 62. We'd be a game and a half-ish out. I think it depends. Did Tampa win today? That's what I was checking to see if Tampa won. I can't believe I got sidetracked and didn't see that. Let's see. Tampa. Tampa might not have played today. Oh, they did play today. They beat the Royals. We're not going to get much help from the Royals, of course, so I don't blame them there. But yeah, the Orioles need to win tomorrow, regardless. But yeah, the Rays, just to get back to the Rays update, the Rays won 5-2. And like I said, they're 64 and 55. They are in a wild card spot currently, and they are in a wild card spot by 1 game. They're a game ahead of the Minnesota, but I don't know if that's updated because it's 64. Yeah, the Tampa Bay is 64 and 55, and Minnesota is 62 and 55. How could they be a game back? They're 2 games back. The Orioles 62 and 58. They are truly 2 games back, 2.5 games back. I'm sorry, because the Rays have the tiebreaker over us for the season, unfortunately. Yeah, it's the update in the Rays. As far as Boston's a little bit further back. Boston's 5 games out, so like their next 4 games. I say our next 4 games for the Orioles are really important. The next 4 games for Boston is essential because if you fall like 9 or 10 games back, and it's beginning of September, you're not making those games up. I mean, you've got to win you've got to go like 25-5 or 20-10 and get like a bunch of help to be able to make the playoffs. But Boston did beat us today. Unfortunately, just the bats weren't going today. So the pitching gets going, the bats aren't going. The bat gets going, the pitching's not going. That's how it's been for the Orioles lately. And they'll have games where they kind of do really, like the other day, it's 15-10, but like clearly the bats got going and the pitching didn't get going because it was 15-10. I want to see some good clean wins like we were having in a winning streak where you're winning 5-2, 6-2, 4-0, where you're putting up like 4-5 runs a night, maybe even 5-6 runs a night, but you're letting up 1-2, maybe 3 runs on a bad night. And like you're giving yourself a chance to win. Like the pitching is giving you a chance to win every single night. Today they give us a chance to win. They let up 3 runs through 7. I don't know what you want. You can't get more than that. And 4 runs total. You got to score 4 or 5 runs. You got to be a playoff team, score 5 runs when you beat them 5-4. So that's just my take on it. However, I do want to wrap it up. We are at 27 minutes and counting, well, almost 28 minutes, 27:42 and counting. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here for the night. Like I said, we'll be back next Saturday at 8:30 again. Schedules might shift. As you know, I do the Warpath crossover pod. I'll also be doing Tailgate Talk, and you'll be able to look for that. Not live, but you'll be able to look for that later on the day after the Bills games on Sunday. Quick update on the Bills. They did win today, 42-15 over the Denver Broncos, who also suck. You're going to hear me with that suck a lot, and it's because the Broncos do suck. At least their backups do. We'll see how they end up in the regular season. I still think they finished 3rd in the division. Chargers number 1, Kansas City number 2, Denver number 3, and Oakland number 4. Of course, Oakland will seem like they're going to win the division by week, even all the way up to like week 12 or 13, and then they'll lose like the last 4 games. And like, oh wow, there you go. Yeah, they finished like 4 or 5 games out from winning the division. It'll make sense, of course. That's just my take on that, and that's my update on the Bills. But either way, thank you for watching the Hot Corner Hangout, joining me live. Louis Mafia Sports Reports. More listeners, get into the chat, jump into the chat, send some. If you want to send some DMs over to myself, Mafia Sports Report, or Tommy, get us some topics you want us to talk about, guests you want us to have on. I will start having some guests on all these shows, especially this show, because baseball is my one true love. Or not my one true, but my true love, of course. I love football, and I love hockey, of course, as well. Probably baseball 1, football 2, hockey 3, and basketball 4. We're also going to be having a basketball show coming out at some point in the future, so look for that as well. We're going to be covering everything here, Mafia Sports Report. We want to give you all the content that you want and that we want to deliver, of course. But for now, that's the Hot Corner Hangout. Go ahead and have a great night. Watch some baseball. Tomorrow, the Orioles and the Red Sox will play in the Little League World Series game, which is in Williamsport, and that'll be the Sunday baseball game. Feels like the first time the Orioles have been on Sunday Night Baseball in about 17,000 years. So go ahead and give that a watch. For now, have a good night.